Mr. Boo.
Hey everybody, it's I, Mr. Boo, the Entertainment Guru, Mr. Boo, the Entertainment Guru, right here on YouTube. And this weekend, the WWE had a huge weekend of events to rival AEW's All In Texas. That's right, we had NXT's Great American Bash kicking it off, followed by WWE's Saturday Night's main event, and last but not least, Women's Evolution 2. And that's why we're here on a Monday in this video. We are going to rank the entire weekend. We're going to rank the two PLEs that took place on Saturday and the one that took place on Sunday. Who got first, who got second, who came in dead last with third. And we are also going to review each and every one of them, starting with NXT's Great American Bash. That's right. The WWE weekend event here in July started off Saturday, July 12th with NXT's Great American Bash. Now, let's get into the review of this premium live event. Now, NXT Great American Bash started off really well with a David vs. Goliath story. And that is with Jasper Troy taking on Javon Evans. And now this match had great back and forth. It had the powerhouse dominating, just tossing and catching and throwing Javon Evans all over the place. But Javon Evans kept doing the springboards, the high-risk maneuvers, the bouncy bounces they were saying. And in the end, even when it looked like Javon Evans was going to be dominated by this new winner of LFG, he came up with a pin out of nowhere, rolling him up for the victory. This match was a great way to show what Jasper Troy is made of and what he can do in the future in the ring, and I'm glad to see they're pushing Javon Evans. It's a good feud, a great rivalry, and a hell of a David vs. Goliath story. They started off with a bang, but up next, the women take the stage for the Women's North American Championship. We have the champion Sol Ruca versus the challenger Izzy Dane. Now let's talk about this match, shall we? As far as North American Championship matches go, this Women's North American Championship match didn't quite stack up to the first match of the evening, as I feel like Izzy Dane as an in-ring competitor is not on the level, she's not on par with Sol Ruca or anything on the level of PLE matches, title matches, or as this one was, a PLE title match. There were some really good back and forth moments. There was some excellent Sol Ruca athletic moments, but even Sol Ruca had a little bit of a mishap, almost botched a springboard X Factor from the top rope, an avalanche X Factor, but she was able to save it as she caught herself, climbed up slowly, and then did the X Factor off the top rope. Of course, in the end, she did soul snatch Izzy Dane and continue to hold her title. And in between all of that, we actually did get to see another spear. Everyone is doing spears. We got to see a spear from Sol Ruca, which was more of an athletically done spear. And then, of course, as the outside interference and chaos of their partners was taking place, we got to see a massive spear from Zarya, who is also from the same area of Australia as Rhea Ripley. So what in the hell are they putting in the water down there to make these people so huge? Like, seriously, the speared, she can spear people out of their boots. Other than that, this match was very, very subpar, very mid-card, and I don't even think it lives up to any of Sol Ruca's greatest matches as of late. So let's just move on to match number 3. Yes, match number 3, the men's North American title was being defended in a Falls Count Anywhere match where All Ego Ethan Page took on Ricky Saints. And let me tell you, this match went off. The match didn't even get started properly. The bell didn't even ring before Ricky Saints attacked All Ego Ethan Page and smacked him with a kendo stick. And when I say Falls Count Anywhere, these men went everywhere and anywhere possible. They fought in the ring, they fought out ringside, they fought on the rampway, they went around the arena and back again. The spots were spectacular, no botches, everything went smoothly as smooth can go in one of these extreme matches. And let me tell you about the chair spots. Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen people do plenty of chair spots. I have watched death matches. Never in my life did I ever think in WWE I would see someone's back literally smack off not the area you sit on a chair, not on a folded chair, but a set up chair, two set up chairs back to back on the part that your back leans up against, like just smacking the spine on the steel. The match was so good. It was 5 out of 5, and Ethan gets to keep his ego because all ego Ethan Page comes out on top and gets to walk away again as North American champion in NXT. NXT brought it with this match. If this was a mid-card match, it should have been a main event match. Ricky Saints, top-notch athlete. All ego Ethan Page just gained my respect in this match. This was a wonderful Extreme Rules Falls Count Anywhere match. Ethan Page the winner. Let's move on. Okay, so after 2 North American Championship matches, one subpar, the other actually main event status in my book, we move on to the men's NXT Championship match where the champion Obafemi defends against Yoshiki Inamura. Now this is Japanese strong style versus a muscular powerhouse Nigerian, a man with a sumo background going up against a man who doesn't need a background because he's got all the beef in the world. This man is buff. I'm talking Obafemi. This man is over 100 and some odd days champion. This match, it was actually pretty good. Both men brought it, and they brought it in the way you would think. This reminded me of some of the 80s and 90s matches where two muscular giants go at it, two powerhouses. I mean, you've got two different versions of like strong style in the ring, and they went back and forth. They brought it hard to each other. They literally took each other down. We actually saw Obafemi getting manhandled and kick out after kick out and reversal after reversal and back and forth and back and forth. And even Josh Briggs trying to cheat. But oh, no. See, it had to be won with honor. So even though Josh Briggs could have helped take Obafemi out, Yoshiki Nomura said, no, we're not playing that. You hit him with the title belt. I'm not winning that way. You want me to grab your chain and sock him one with the chain? Nah, we're not doing it that way. We are going to win with honor. But in the end, even though he fought hard, he was chopping down the tree that is Obafemi. He was showing him what sumo and strong style is. Obafemi is still the reigning NXT champion. Who can stop Obafemi if this man, this strong style powerhouse of a man, couldn't get it done? Who can dethrone the ruler, Obafemi? And now we come to the main event, which should have actually been that Falls Count Anywhere match, but I digress. We have Jordynne Grace accompanied by the newcomer from AEW, Blake Monroe. First, Fatal Influences JC Jane and Fallon Henley. And let me tell you, even though I think that Falls Count Anywhere match should have been the main event, these ladies brought it. This was a great tag team match. There were a lot of tags. There was a lot of innovation. There was a lot of storytelling between Jordynne Grace and JC Jane. There was outside interferences. There were back and forth moments. This is what tag team wrestling should be. This was not a bad main event by no means, but it still didn't feel to me like a main event match. Now, of course, Fatal Influence couldn't cheat their way into a win this time, as Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe actually pulled off a win. Blake Monroe winning her first match in NXT, in this tag match, in this PLE, in this main event. And it was also kind of assisted because, of course, Fatal Influence's third person was there trying to get involved. And the TNA Women's Knockout Champion came out to ringside, took her out of the equation. Jordynne Grace pulled through. Miss Monroe pulled through. And she won her debut match right there at Great American Bash in a pretty decent tag team match with Fatal Influence taking on Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe. All around, pretty good show. So with that said, it was a pretty good show. 4 of the 5 matches were really good. 1 was spectacular. I just don't think the women's NXT match brought it. But as a whole, as a 5-match event, and the fact of what Ricky Saints and Mr. All Ego did, and with Oba Femi's match, and with 2 decent matches to not only start, but to also finish the show, I have to give NXT Great American Bash 2025 a 4 out of 5. And what a way to kick off this WWE PLE July extravaganza of events. But up next, we have Saturday night's main event. Now, the WWE has been doing these Saturday night's main events for a while now. They brought it back from the 80s, and there's just something off about it, which I will talk about in the end of this segment on Saturday night's main event. But I feel like the commercial breaks and the television aspect and just everything is all wrong. There was actually only 4 matches, 1 less than NXT's Great American Bash. Let's get into it. Now, the first match out of 4 was Randy Orton, the Viper, Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, versus Drew McIntyre. Now, after the events took place on SmackDown between Jelly Roll and Logan Paul, of course, Jelly Roll escorted Randy Orton to the ring, and Logan Paul escorted Drew McIntyre to the ring. Now, this match was short. It was decent because the talents of Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, but it was short, and it was just full of commercial breaks, and I feel like this match wasn't even focused on the 2 competitors. It was focused more on Jelly Roll and Logan Paul getting in each other's faces, Jelly Roll taking Logan Paul down with a shove, the match ending very, very quickly. Because of the time constraints with NBC and it being more of a glorified televised event, we had Logan Paul and Jelly Roll, like I said, going at it on the outside. Drew McIntyre was distracted. Boom, bang, boom, pow, wow. Randy Orton out of nowhere, RKO. 1, 2, 3. Logan attacks Randy Orton, and then we see kind of the same thing we saw on SmackDown as Jelly Roll has had enough of his friend being beaten by Logan. Goes in, takes Logan Paul down, and I mean down with the best punch I've seen thrown by a celebrity in a long time. Let's just not mention Travis Scott, and let's just say Jelly Roll has got it going on. But then he's checking on Randy Orton, and when I say Jelly Roll has it going on, this man takes a Claymore out of nowhere from a man the size of Drew McIntyre, a man known for throwing that Claymore around. Jelly Roll takes it like a champ. Mr. Jason DeFord is down, knocked out. Everyone's checking on him. An argument ensues with the staff members and Drew McIntyre, Logan, Randy, and that was it for match number 1. This was a match that could have been done on SmackDown, and I think it was just there to set up a SummerSlam match between Randy Orton and Jelly Roll and Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. This match did not feel like anything you couldn't see on Raw or SmackDown. Let's get into match 2. Now, match 2 is Jimmy Uso, Big Jimmy, taking on his younger brother, Solo Sikoa. But before this match actually jumped off, Jade Cargill was in the audience. Naomi jumped off on her. We had like a brawl break loose. And then we had the announcement that for Sunday night, Bianca Belair was going to be the special guest referee in their no disqualification street fight. That was actually a pretty good segment. I liked the setup. I liked the hype. But let's get back to Solo versus Jimmy. Now, this match was actually pretty dang decent. This would be like a main event on a Raw or a SmackDown to finish off the night. The back and forth between these two was great. The chemistry these brothers have was great. It was brilliant, and they actually showed that Big Jimmy knows how to throw down, and they actually let him get several close calls. He likes to throw those super kicks. He had a lot of good spots against the champion, Solo Sikoa. Now, going into this is Solo Sikoa's first championship match since he won it. His first defense. Of course, we all knew he wasn't gonna let go of that title. Not this time, not this night, not here, not now, not versus Big Jim. But Big Jim gave him a good match. This match had good match flow. It had everything. It even had Big Jimmy Uso, actually going for the win against Solo Sikoa. But then Solo rolls up Jimmy, and of course, the newcomer of Solo's team and just the numbers game against Jimmy obviously came into play. As Solo's team, the MFT, the My Family Tree, was just too much for Jimmy Uso to handle alone and walk out of Saturday Night Main Event, the new United States champion. As the roll-up happened, Jimmy may have kicked out, but the tallest member of this group, the newest member, Tala Tonga, puts his leg up into the ring and pushes on Solo, giving him the leverage for the 1, 2, 3. Then a typical Solo Bloodline My Family Tree MFT beatdown, whatever you want to call them, beatdown starts happening, and Jimmy looks like he's in some trouble until the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, the former US champion, comes out to save the day, and all hell breaks loose. As Jacob Fatu clears the ring, he ends up going face to face with Tala Tonga, or at least almost face to face, as the man actually makes the Samoan werewolf look very small in comparison. They go back and forth. Tala has the upper hand until Jacob Fatu outwits him, throwing him to the outside. And with a big smile from Jimmy Uso, that's a wrap. And on that wrap, we get match number 3, Seth freaking Rollins versus LA Knight. Yeah! Now this match had some potential. You had Paul Heyman ringside. You had the Architect Seth Rollins versus LA Knight. Both men have great in-ring chemistry with almost every one of their opponents. You have the athletic styles. You have the great worker in LA Knight. This could have been a good match. This match could have stole the show. But unfortunately, even though we had some great back and forth and we had some great athleticism and just some great wrestling, all in all, the match was cut short when Rollins tried to do a senton over the ropes onto LA Knight on his roll through and stand up. His right knee looked a little wobbly. He followed that up by rolling through and then moonsaulting. LA Knight moves out of the way. Seth Rollins then lands on his feet, further injuring what I think was an already injured knee from the first roll through when he got up and almost fell right before that moonsault. He hits hard, he lands on his feet, buckles his knee, goes right outside the ring and talks to Paul Heyman, talks to the ref, and it seemed like just such an impromptu finish. I thought it was all a setup. I thought it was a work because I swore that Goldberg was going to win and Rollins was going to come out and cash in on Goldberg, but instead we got a very, very quick ending to an already quick match. And that was the blunt force trauma by LA Knight on a Seth Rollins who stumbles out of the corner. Even LA Knight looks shocked. Everyone looks like that was definitely, they were thrown a curveball, they had to do an audible, and that is definitely not the finish to the match. And I still thought if this is a work, then all of that was still for the cash-in Goldberg's match. But with footage during the commercial break from fans, it looks like he was helped out of the arena. He was very upset with himself. This injury looks real. I hope it's not serious. We love Seth Rollins, and for him and Becky's sake, I hope he's not out for very long and he can continue to entertain us like he does. This was definitely not the finish of the match. This was an impromptu, audible finish to the match, and that brings us to the main event. And this main event is Gunther versus the one, the only, Goldberg. Goldberg's retirement match, Saturday Night Main Event, the main event versus Gunther. Something that started when Gunther disrespected Goldberg and his son. This is Goldberg's, again, retirement match. Now, this match had some good, it had some bad, and it had some ugly, and we are going to get into that. First off with the good, this match was a main event. We actually saw Goldberg spear Gunther. We saw him jackhammer Gunther. We saw the poor referee get just slammed out of his boots with a spear by Goldberg. And this is coming off of the big shoulder block by John Cena at the last PLE. This ref is taking some bumps. We saw his son try to get involved with Gunther after Gunther again disrespected him. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of chops being thrown. There was a lot of old Goldberg. The chops weren't affecting him. He just kind of smiled. He's like, I'm Goldberg, man. I'm made of steel. The whole thing was great because we know Gunther has the hardest slaps and chops in the industry today. And it was great to just see a 59-year-old Goldberg be like, nah, what was that? Was that a bug bite? No, I'm wiping that off. And they just did great. Two powerhouses doing their thing. It really felt like an 80s or 90s match. The way that it should have. That was the good. It was also very lengthy. The good was there. Like Goldberg was there. Goldberg threw himself with a spear through the railing, through the freaking barricade, and got up and kept going. Like Goldberg did not look 59. This man looked 10, 12, 13, 14 years younger than he really is. Gunther and Goldberg held their own back and forth in a great main event. That was the good. Now here's the bad. The first out of two things I could say were bad about this match. Number one being the commercial breaks. This is Goldberg's retirement match, and you have this many commercial breaks? Are you kidding me? And it's not even on a premium live event. It's on Saturday Night Main Event, which is somewhere between a Raw, SmackDown, or NXT and an actual PLE. This is just a live production event on TV that's just a little bit hyped and nothing more. This is just disgraceful to have a Goldberg's retirement match full of TV ads. It's a televised thing. It's a televised special. It's not a premium live event. It's not a pay-per-view. Hell, it's not even Raw or SmackDown. And you're doing Goldberg like this. And he's putting on a show just as good as he ever has at the age of 59. Now that's number one. Number two, the second thing that made the bad list here is simply the way it happened. And I know they probably changed things on the fly with Seth Rollins being injured, but my God, just like how Gunther fell asleep on Jey Uso in a sleeper hold, they then made Goldberg pass out and fall asleep to Gunther in a sleeper hold? Are you kidding me? You could not have made this man look stronger for the entire match just to then take away all of his masculinity, all of his legendary status, all of his muscle and might and powerhouseness, and literally let it circle down the drain, then to have Gunther sit up after being speared and jackhammered through the mat straight to hell and just wrap Goldberg up for Goldberg to pass out. Like, they could have figured something else out than to have Gunther literally put him to sleep. Like, Goldberg still could have won and then said, you know what? Now the title's up for grabs. Terrible ending. And now we got to talk about the downright ugly Goldberg's retirement match. You put the man to sleep. You cut into his match with commercials. But then he's giving his farewell speech. And you cut him off. And you put the freaking credits there. You just roll credits. You just shut the lights out on the man. Cody Rhodes came out and said some things. If the fans would not have posted this speech and Cody coming out and putting Goldberg over and things like that, we would not have actually gotten to see Goldberg retire. Maybe you could have saved his retirement speech for Monday Night Raw. Why would you cut him off? This whole match, besides it being a great showing for Goldberg and Gunther, they went out there and they did their thing. They hit their spots. They made you feel like you were watching a PLE main event, despite everything else that was going wrong. You then take that for granted. You take this 59-year-old acting like he's 30 again for granted. Put on a great match. Best match of the night, in my opinion. This man gave you of his soul. From WCW in the 1990s, all the way till 2025 at 59 years old, you are then going to roll over on him. You're going to roll the credits on him. You're going to cut his speech. You're going to pull him. You're going to hit the buzzer. You're going to pull him out of there with a cane. He doesn't even get to finish his retirement speech. Now, I'm not one for celebrities, but I love Jelly Roll. I think he's actually doing well. I think that's a good setup for that SummerSlam event, but it was a terrible excuse of a way to do it. Jimmy Uso came out and brought it versus Solo Sikoa. I know that LA Knight and Seth Rollins match would have and could have went better, but Rollins obviously is now injured, and all my best wishes out to him. Goldberg and Gunther, they brought it despite all the things that were stacked against them. The cutting off of the retirement speech, the freaking commercials and trailers and sponsorships there in the middle of his retirement match. Goldberg came out at 59 looking like he was 30. Should have been the victor. Terrible finish. All in all, these 4 matches, and I'm going to say more or less Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa and Gunther and Goldberg brought it. Randy and McIntyre, well, they could have brought it, but all they were there to do was hype up SummerSlam and to get Jelly Roll and Logan Paul over into this tag match. And Seth Rollins always brings it. LA Knight, great talent. Unfortunately, the injury there, hoping it's not serious. But with all of that said, I have to give Saturday Night Main Event a 3 or a 3.5. It is lower than the Great American Bash. And before moving on to Evolution, I just want to say these Saturday Night Main Events, they're only there for NBC's contractual agreements. And they're not a PLE, and they're not a televised event, technically. They're a glorified televised event. They're in the middle of a Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and a PLE, and all the commercials run it. And they're actually having John Cena's retirement match on one of these shows. And I really, really hope they don't do to him what they did to Goldberg. And all the commercials just need to stop. Like, if you own Peacock, you shouldn't have any commercials. The commercials should be on television only. But I digress. Saturday Night Main Event has no, and I mean no, reason to even still be here with the way they're promoting it, the way they're doing it, the way they're showing it. They have so many events right now, they don't even know how to run them. And going into Evolution, they didn't even set these women up with enough storylines or enough hype to sell enough tickets. But Sunday night did come. The women, they did show up. And let's talk about the show they put on.